Symptoms of liver problems for an obese person or a thin person, are they different? Ask Dr. Anand Khakkar.
So, the endocrinal orchestra, the rate at which your hormones that dictate the metabolic milieu, the basal metabolic rate milieu, they decide the overall state of
how it
thin
functions
or fat habitus.
Right.
This orchestrated symphony to a certain extent is also an inherited feature.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, given my endocrinal milieu, I have a certain habitus.
So when you say endocrinal milieu is?
The endocrinal milieu is the brain, the hypothalamus dictating the pituitary, and the pituitary
The gland.
inherently, the pituitary is the Zubin meta.
Correct. It orchestrates
it orchestrates your thyroid, your thymus, your adrenals, your adrenal cortex, your all the other paracrinal and endocrinal substances, and they all produce those chemicals which dictate the rate at which fat burns, the rate at which muscles deposit, the rate at which your stomach secretes digestive enzymes, the rate at which your intestines move, the rate at which your heart beats, the rate at which your lungs breathe, the rate at which your brain works. That's what makes you and me.
Of course, that's different in everybody.
Yeah. But does it then make you otherwise equally fit or healthy? No. Yes, there is a distinct advantage of being thin, but it does not guarantee you. Because when it boils down to liver disease, and in that context I will now address it, is that fatty habitus and fat deposition in the liver is a disease in itself.
Okay.
So if your body mass index is say 30 versus the thin guy whose body mass index is 25, he is far better off as compared to the guy with a BMI of 30 in being predisposed to the fatty liver related insults.
Okay.
Now you're talking about alcohol, which is the second insult.
Yes.
Okay, now if I have one insult versus you have two insults, I'm better off.
Of course. Yes.
So, but at the same time, certain people and certain genetically blessed individuals and even races, they have a different isotype of what is called alcohol dehydrogenase, which allows them to metabolize more alcohol than certain other races. And this is true, I'll tell you, the Oriental races, the Japanese and the Chinese can drink much more than the Caucasians.
Okay.
So their isotype of alcohol dehydrogenase has a much larger capacity to metabolize alcohol and therefore are not overwhelmed and therefore insulted or damaged. Right? So if the thin guy who has alcoholic liver damage will have the same amount of alcoholic liver damage as the fat guy, if they have the same isotype of alcohol dehydrogenase. If the fatty guy has a better alcohol dehydrogenase, he can tolerate better alcohol than the thin guy. But please remember that the fat guy is also going to have damage because of his fatty liver disease and non-alcoholic.
And that's an added disadvantage to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So these have to be looked as two separate insults.
Right.